Don't turn off the video. This holds the answer to the question your mother left behind. In 1980, the small mountain village of Darrow Hollow lived in quiet isolation. Children played freely near the woods, despite the elders' constant warnings to stay away from the old forest well. 8-year-old Aamir Halim, a shy boy with kind eyes and a habit of talking to himself, often wandered too close to that boundary. One foggy evening, while the villagers prepared for the winter festival, Aamir vanished without leaving a single footprint behind. A desperate search began. The entire village swept through the forest with torches and dogs, calling Aamir's name for hours, then days, then weeks. Only one clue surfaced. Aamir's small red scarf was found tied neatly to a tree branch near the old forest well. No signs of struggle, no blood, no trail. Authorities from the city claimed Aamir had likely been dragged off by a wild animal. But villagers knew something was wrong, especially when 3 witnesses reported hearing a child laughing from the woods 2 days after the disappearance. Aamir's mother, Shaina, was devastated. She refused to leave her home, keeping Aamir's room untouched. Over time, her grief turned into a quiet madness. She spoke to empty chairs, cooked extra portions of food, and insisted her son's shadow still moved on his bedroom wall some nights. The village slowly moved on, new generations were born, and the case was eventually abandoned. But a curse seemed to settle over Darrow Hollow. Animals avoided the forest, children refused to play outside after dusk, and no one dared mention the old well after midnight. But the silence that followed the tragedy was only temporary. The story of Aamir was not over. It was only waiting for the right night to begin again. In the year 2025, during a night colder than usual, Darrow Hollow experienced a sudden blackout. Houses plunged into darkness, except for a single narrow street where the lamps flickered to life on their own. As the wind grew still, the villagers peeked outside, sensing something unnatural. Then they saw him, a small boy, barefoot, wearing old clothes from the 1980s, standing in the middle of the road. It was Aamir, unchanged, untouched by time, still 8 years old. His skin was pale but unmarked, his hair slightly dusty as if he had just woken from a long sleep underground. He simply whispered, "I'm home now." Panic spread among the villagers. Some ran inside and locked their doors. Others stared in disbelief, unable to process the impossible. The oldest villager, Baba Haroon, fainted upon seeing the boy, muttering, "The forest has returned him, but not as he was." Authorities were called, but their attempts to question Aamir led nowhere. He answered every question in the same steady tone, detached, emotionless. "My mother is waiting. My room is the same. I can hear him calling." Shaina, his mother, now a fragile old woman, collapsed when she saw him but refused to let anyone take him away. She kept saying, "This is not my son, but he carries his face." Doctors confirmed the boy had no change in age, no biological anomalies, but his pulse was strangely slow, only 12 beats per minute, impossible for a human child. By morning, rumors spread beyond the village. A boy missing for 30 years had returned as if time had never touched him. And with him, something else had returned, something unseen, waiting in the shadows. As days passed, the villagers realized that the boy calling himself Aamir did not behave like any normal child. For starters, he never ate. Food left on his plate remained untouched. Shaina tried feeding him herself, but his lips never parted. Yet he never weakened, never tired. He also never slept. Each night, Shaina found him sitting upright in bed, staring at a blank wall. Sometimes she heard whispers from his room, but when she checked, Aamir would be alone, still, silent, unblinking. Children avoided him. Dogs barked and growled whenever he walked by. Babies cried uncontrollably if he stood near them. And then came the shadows. Villagers began noticing that Aamir's shadow did not move in sync with him. When he turned his head, the shadow turned a moment later. When he lifted his hand, the shadow hesitated, like it wasn't sure what it was supposed to imitate. One night, a neighbor reported hearing Aamir talking, not in a child's voice, but in 2 voices at once. One soft and young, the other deep, distorted, echoing like it came from inside a well. Shaina grew terrified. She confided in Mina, the researcher who later arrived. "He looks like my son, but he breathes like something else. He stands in the dark for hours, listening, as if the darkness is speaking back. Aamir started visiting the forest at night, standing at the tree line as though someone invisible was calling him forward. He whispered strange sentences to himself. He is waiting for me. They will all join us soon. I am only the first. It became clear to everyone. Whatever had come back, Aamir was only its vessel. Documentary researcher Mina Rafiq arrived in Darrow Hollow after hearing rumors about the returning boy. Fascinated by missing person cases, she hoped to uncover psychological explanations, not supernatural ones. But the village atmosphere unsettled her. The silence, the fear in people's eyes, the way they avoided the forest. Her investigation led her to a local legend, the Shadow Boy, a spirit said to live in the old forest well, taking the form of young children who wander too close. Every 30 years, it supposedly rises, searching for a host so it can walk among the living. Mina dismissed it as folklore until she reached the forest. The moment she stepped near the well, she felt the temperature drop sharply. Birds stopped singing. A faint whisper echoed up from the darkness below. She recorded it, but playback revealed nothing but static, except for one chilling second where a child's laughter appeared. Villagers revealed that Aamir, on the day he vanished 30 years ago, was seen near that very spot, talking to the empty air as if someone invisible stood beside him. Mina began to suspect a supernatural link. The well itself looked ancient, stones cracked, moss-covered, ropes frayed. It felt alive, breathing cold air upward, carrying the scent of damp soil and something metallic, something like blood. She found carvings around the well, crude drawings of children with missing faces, their shadows stretched unnaturally long. One carving showed a boy pulling another boy into the darkness of the well. When Mina returned to the village that evening, she heard Aamir's voice behind her. You shouldn't go there at night. When she turned, he was standing too close. But he appreciates your curiosity, he whispered, and his shadow stretched toward her feet. Determined to uncover what Aamir truly was, Mina set up hidden cameras around the Halim house, as well as near the forest edge. She kept the recording secret, not wanting to alarm the villagers. What she captured changed her understanding of reality. At 2:13 a.m., Aamir rose from his bed without bending a single joint. His body lifted smoothly, unnaturally, as though an invisible hand pulled him upward. He stood perfectly still for several minutes before turning toward the wall and whispering to it. Playback of his whispering revealed two voices overlapping, Aamir's childlike voice and a deeper, echoing voice that seemed to vibrate the speakers. Another recording showed Aamir walking through the hallway. His feet touched the ground, but his reflection in the mirror did not move. The reflection simply stared forward, blinking slowly, long after Aamir had walked away. The most horrifying footage came from the forest camera. Aamir approached the tree line. Behind him, his shadow stretched across the entire ground, moving like a separate creature. Then the camera glitched violently before showing Aamir standing motionless, staring directly into the lens. He leaned close, his eyes dull and empty, and whispered, "He is calling you too." But the most disturbing part was that Aamir had not been standing close to the camera at all. He had been 20 feet away. Yet the lens recorded him right up close, as if the shadow, not the boy, had spoken. Mina replayed the footage dozens of times, her hands trembling. There was no logical explanation. Only one truth remained undeniable. The thing inside Aamir was not human, and it wanted more than one host. The deeper Mina dug, the more horrifying the truth became. Interviews with the oldest villagers revealed that Aamir's disappearance was not the first. Every 30 years, a child had vanished near the same well. Each loss had been quietly buried by the community out of fear of the curse. Mina returned to the forest and discovered a hidden stone tablet buried beneath leaves. On it were etched 7 names, the missing children from the past 2 centuries. The last space was blank, waiting for Aamir's name. Her theory formed. Aamir's body had returned, but his soul had not. The real Aamir's spirit, trapped in the well, had never aged, just like his body. But the entity inside him, the Shadow Boy, used Aamir as a disguise to walk freely. A breakthrough came when Mina recorded faint crying near the well. When she enhanced the audio, she heard a child's voice whispering, "Please, I'm still here. Don't let him take another." Mina realized this was the real Aamir, a spirit pleading for release. She rushed to Cheyenne, who broke down and confessed the truth. The night he returned, he didn't call me Aamir. My son always said Mama. That thing never has. The villagers began to panic as signs worsened, shadows behaving independently, children sleepwalking toward the forest, whispers echoing through homes. A final revelation occurred when Mina examined Aamir's old clothes from 1980. Dirt from the fabric contained traces of grave mold, the type found deep underground, far deeper than any well should reach. This meant the well wasn't a well at all. It was a gate, one that had opened again, and the real Aamir was trapped below, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to come for him. As the 30th night approached, the village atmosphere grew unbearable. Shadows lengthened unnaturally. Lights flickered unpredictably. Children began speaking in their sleep with strange voices. Animals fled the area entirely. Aamir, or rather, the entity inside him, changed. His eyes no longer reflected light. His footsteps made no sound. And at sunset, he stood at the center of the village and whispered one sentence. "It's time." Suddenly, every door in the village slammed shut. Windows locked themselves. Darkness swallowed the streets. The temperature dropped so low that frost formed inside houses. Mina and Cheyenne were the only ones outside, having followed Aamir as he drifted toward the forest. They realized too late that the entity was drawing everyone into isolation. Screams erupted across the village, short, sharp, abruptly cut off. It was as if shadows inside homes had come alive and dragged the inhabitants away. Mina and Cheyenne reached the well, where cold air rose violently, swirling like a storm. From inside, they heard dozens of children crying, including Aamir's true voice. Cheyenne, trembling, understood what must be done. She whispered, "He needs a soul to replace him. Mine will do." Before Mina could stop her, Cheyenne stepped into the darkness, offering herself to free her son. The forest shook. The voices stopped. And slowly, painfully, a grown man climbed out of the well. It was Aamir, now the age he should have been. Alive, confused, crying. But when he and Mina returned to the village, every house was silent. Every door wide open. Every shadow stretched unnaturally long. And at the end of the road stood a new 8-year-old boy, smiling. "I'm home now," he whispered. The cycle had begun again. Not all stories begin with the living. Some begin with those who return. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, so you won't miss the next truth that comes back.